Hi guys, how are you? So Casper here again with a video that will be for the open, so you can all see it, both here on YouTube but also on the Substack. So we will just quickly go through the medals. Again, we've done this yesterday, but we'll quickly go through the four medals just to see where we are in time. A lot of things are happening, and then we're gonna have a bit of a review of three stocks, gold and silver stocks that we bought in the past in a few months here. What was the entry point? What was the idea, potential targets? What's the plan? We're going to go through that. Three silver and gold stocks in which we bought up heavily on the Substack, and also me personally buying big in those three stocks. These were some of the really good setups, and when they come around, that's when we say you can go, you can do a large size in these kind of stocks, in which we did. And so far, so good. Let's dive in here. Let's start with silver. Again, silver just recently broke 40. 40, right? That is, again, a big number. Getting a little bit of resistance here today, sitting on top of this whole uptrend, right? We're sitting on top here, trying to break that to the upside, which when these kind of things happen, when you have a channel that is sloping up and you break to the upside, you can all of a sudden get a lot of tailwind very quickly. So that is what we are finding now here, basically trying to break away from this 3 year uptrend, right? 3 years. Also remember that's not a whole lot of volume traded here in the 40s, right? We've basically been here two times, and both times we were there like for like a few weeks, and then that was it, maybe even days, right? We spent very little time in the 40s, therefore there's not a whole lot of selling going on there, in big quantity at least. So I also see these highs as 50 as I don't actually think they mean so much. I think we could break through and actually peak out at 60 to 70 before, we get any bigger, bigger pauses. So I also want to show you here a momentum indicator that I have made. And you can see that what this means is that we're about to break some 5 mean momentum structures to the upside. Meaning, if you break away here, it means that you're going to outperform the average of the price quite heavily. Meaning, we're going to potentially spike here to the upside when we break here. So you can see we haven't broken out yet. This is the one to clear, right? We need to clear roughly 20 here. And then when that happens, we are going to go back, in my view, to the highs and basically having price outperforming the moving average, the long-term moving average on silver. So very interesting stuff happening here. So let's see what it does, right? Let's see what it does. That's all we can do. Gold, good old Goldie. Remember, again, we turned immensely bullish over here. That little bull flag there in 2024 was the big let's go. And we've basically gone up ever since, basically. Many targets were met, and now we've also triggered some shorter term, midterm targets here that takes us to close to 4K, potentially even 4K, I would say, could easily happen. Um, as of today here, we're just finding it's the triangle high over here, which in this case is also the all-time high for gold. So let's see how long time we need to grind through. So until this pattern here is disproven, meaning until we potentially, let's say we're going to come down, we are very bullish on gold in the short term now as well. Very bullish. But let's see how long time it takes here to clear that. Once it cleared, we're going to see 3,700 and change. And I do believe also we could see a 4K run with overperformance at the 4K mark. We're going to do platinum. Also, for the members on the Substack, we turned immensely bullish and even said platinum is better than gold down here when it broke 1,050. That was when, to me at least, the big key for platinum. And this was the big kickstart to a multi-year bull run in platinum. What we're breaking here is 20 years worth of trend line / resistance, and we broke out finally. And again, first measured move has been hit here. But but there's many more to come, which is not on this template. But again, it is shared with the Substack. So first measured move were roughly 1,450 here. And now we're pulling back a little bit. But long term, again, it doesn't mean a whole lot. We have some potential negation of a wedge here. Again, it couldn't turn into a bear flag. So we are not totally out of the clear yet, short term, for platinum here. Again, this could still be a part of that bear flag. The pennant has been negated, but the bear flag is still intact. And we need this high here to be taken out in order to negate the bear flag. If not, then you will get a buying opportunity somewhere around here, roughly 1,200. That will be a buying opportunity for platinum. So platinum, short term, a little iffy, long term, immensely bullish. Also bullish, but not quite as much as platinum, because platinum is by far one of the best looking metals. We're having a big backtest here now on Palladium, right? And we are now breaking that very steep flag / channel here. And I think once we break 1,150, we're going to go all the way up to here, roughly 1,500, almost 1,600. We're getting to there. Then that is my next target for platinum, Palladium. It might take some time, right? We might have a up thrust here and then a down move, and then we're going to go sideways for some time. But ultimately, I do believe we're going to hit that level. But the first step will be to take out this high here, 1,150, maybe 52, depending. But somewhere around that, then I think the downtrend is broken, and we're going to make higher highs up here. Good. Now the stocks that we have been buying. To the people, again, that have been seeing this, again, following me, this comes to no surprise, but Radisson, Santa Cruz, and SUP were stocks that we bought heavily when they gave us the trigger. We were waiting for quite some time, but definitely it has been going up basically ever since. Of course, there are pullbacks and they suck, but overall, they have gone up. So Radisson, back in the day, was actually a no-brainer, right? This kind of wedge here, which is at least 2 years old. You could say it's maybe 4 years, but at least 2 years, right? That is always a golden opportunity when you get these textbook wedge patterns. We broke to the upside, bought it heavily at 0.2. The first target we have was the triangle high here, which you can see 0.40 was a big level. And 0.40 is also the 100% measured move, or like the 100% move from the breakout to that target. So we spent basically half a year grinding it out. Breakout now, backtest, going higher. And what is happening now is that we are even breaking the golden uptrend here to the upside. Immensely powerful as of now. And we are now going to go to all-time highs, right? That is our next target. And we could even do like a parallel to put it on top here, right? And meaning the inverted head and shoulder, which is a bit hidden, but I'll still say it's there. That is the inverted head and shoulder. That is a bit invisible because it's not perfect by any means. Takes us to $4, right? $4. That is our absolutely most greedy target for Radisson. It doesn't mean we will get there, but if we do, we will be all out. And then that's it. It also depends on how we get there, what structures we get along the way. But basically, that is a mega target long term. Short term, we have different targets, which is somewhere in this box here, of course. But that is our max greedy target. So from 0.2 here, that could send us to roughly 4, meaning you can do 5 multiplied by 4. That is quite good, quite good gains. And the risk reward is so tight. Again, that's why we love these kind of, very tight squeezes coming in, and then we can target the big ones here. Almost 100 to 1 here on that risk reward. Incredible. You only need 5 of these per year, by the way, in order to be very successful. So next one up here is Santa Cruz, also one we hit directly behind, and the break point for us was 0.44, which is basically that trend line coming all the way down, breaking on the 5th with the back test and then breaking out. We have the same head and shoulder pattern here, right? We have the exact same head and shoulder, meaning the target for us is roughly 7, right? Roughly 7. That's the big green one. Then the close one and nearby is roughly 2.1 here. Maybe we can break out and go to the all-time high at 2.5, maybe. But we are coming to a point where you can see we have the oscillation coming in here within this channel, right? So that is our short-term driver now. And again, we're getting very close to that $2 resistance or potential target. But again, buying down here at 0.44 to $2, right? That is almost 500% since March this year in one stock. So I'm expecting that we are close to some sort of pause, whatever you get here. Expecting that. However, if we can break the blue and the all-time high, of course, basically breaking the blue, I think we're going to break the all-time high and we will not get a pause. So there is a lot more to come. Again, personally, I wouldn't buy it here ever. Again, we are looking for these very good risk and reward ratios, right? This was basically our, okay, fair enough. What's going on here? This was basically our risk reward here. That's it. And then we have that target there. So we were getting 60 to 1, right? 60 to 1 with that little entry, and we have a stop below the recent swing low before we broke out, right? Immensely good risk and reward. You don't need these to be correct many times. Target, the first one is coming up now. And then the big greedy one at roughly 7. If we can get there, that would also be a home run. Remember, we don't always get it right, but that's why we have stop losses, right? But typically when you have a 2 to 3 year squeeze breaking out, the initial direction is the first one is the correct one. And here you can also see momentum, right? You have momentum here coming down, breaking out, back testing momentum, and we basically gone vertical. Again, very clear and powerful. A lot of energy is built up when you have these squeezes here, also on momentum. Boom, away we go. SUP, funny story. We do this chart request every week roughly, and I will have to actually send out a post for people to submit the tickers or stocks that we should look at. And this was one mentioned by one of the Substack members, and basically straight away I knew this is going to be a big one. It's a very clean setup. Again here, long-term downtrend broken here in 2020, massive surge, and then we came down for a roundabout, and then we broke the big one. From the all-time highs, we broke on the 4th, which is typically a very good textbook thing. Breaking on the 4th here, the entry 0.66. The greedy target is actually the upper yellow here. But in order to get to those insane targets again, we need to clear 1.6, which comes up very shortly, which is basically the horizontal level here. When and if that breaks, we have resistance here at the overall parallel downtrend. And when and if that breaks, then all of a sudden the shorter term, which is basically 5-year uptrend, is fully intact and is no longer being held down by horizontal and or a downtrend channel. So again, the entry here was exceptional. Again, risk reward wise, that is all we look for, risk then reward. And you can see the entry. Again, we were buying roughly around there, stop loss below the recent swing before the breakout, so something like that. And depending on the targets, if you can go to, again, just these highs here, you have 4 to 1. To the overall upper trend line, you have 10 to 1, and then potentially a home run. Again, will we be sitting there with a full position if we get there? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how things gets there and how silver is doing, how gold is doing. But for now, at least, we very much enjoy this yellow uptrend, and but also acknowledge that we're going to hit some pretty stiff resistances really soon. And most often you don't pierce straight through right away. But the long-term play is still very much intact. Before we go, I want to show you, again, I can't remember if we talked about this. I think we did. Yeah, we did. Again, this one here is the big one for silver, just to go back and have you focus on that. The 200-day momentum breakout here, which is a 5-year fractal. If that breaks to the upside and we start to trade north of that 20, in momentum here, we are gonna see, yes, it sounds, insane to say, but we're gonna see silver go vertical because you're having price break away from the average price that is moving up already. So in order to break out against the, a moving average that comes up, you need to go vertical. Otherwise, you cannot break away from that momentum or that moving average. So again, 4 metals, 3 stocks that we have been doing on the Substack. We've done many more. We have also gotten someone incorrect. Of course, we do that all the time. We cover uranium, gold, silver, platinum, oil. Oil is looking frisky, but it's not there just yet. We do some crypto. We do a lot of other funky stuff, overall commodities again. So check out the Substack. It is in the link below. And yeah, let's see where silver is taking us. One thing is sure, and that is we are at a very interesting point for silver and potentially going vertical here. Have an amazing day as always. Comments below. I will happily answer anything you have. Cheers, guys.